Marmon 16 Convertible Sedan by LeBaron 1931. Body style 145. 200 bhp, 490.8 cubic inches OHV V16 engine, 3-speed manual synchro mesh transmission, solid front and liver rear axles with semi-elliptic leaf spring suspension, and 4-wheel mechanical drum brakes. Wheelbase, 145 inches. One of the best known of the 70 surviving Marmon 16s, chassis number 16 145 593 is, for several reasons, a significant automobile even among that elite crowd. It was one of the first 16s to receive a modern conquer restoration and, in gathering awards from coast to coast, became probably the most famous example to modern showgoers. It has led an illustrious history, both in its home state of Indiana and elsewhere. Most impressively, it remains a stunning beauty today. Indiana title records document that the car was originally owned by Dr. G.H.A. Klaus, a resident of Marmon's hometown, Indianapolis. A man to whom modern diabetics owe a considerable debt, Dr. Klaus was responsible for the development of insulin as a treatment for diabetes in his position as head of research for the Eli Lilly Company. Dr. Klaus Marmon was well equipped, even by 16 standards, being outfitted with a factory radio and front and rear heaters. The car enjoyed a number of other short-term owners in Indiana throughout the next 2 decades, including well-known early Indianapolis collector John Hoggett. It was subsequently owned and received its first restoration by Richard Askerin, with the engine reportedly rebuilt and tested by the Perfect Circle Piston Ring Company. After restoration, Askerin sold the Marmon in 1972 to renowned American sportsman Briggs Cunningham. Most famous for his exploits at Le Mans and in the America's Cup yacht race, Cunningham was an enthusiastic collector of automobiles, which were housed in his famous museum in Costa Mesa, California. He was a Marmon 16 enthusiast and owned 2 of the cars over the years. During his ownership, the car was fitted with its current engine, number 16860. Following the sale of the Cunningham collection in Mass to Miles Collier, the car was purchased by legendary Indiana collector S. Ray Miller. Mr. Miller was, for 2 decades, the most enthusiastic acquirer of significant automobiles built in the Hoosier State. The majority of his collection was restored with cost as no object by the now well-known facility LeBaron Restorations of Nappanee, Indiana. The 16 was no exception, and between 1988 and 1989, it was restored by Eric and Vivian LeBaron to the highest of standards. As part of this flawless restoration, the car was refinished in a correct Marmon color scheme, black with Menelaus orange moldings, a dark red interior, and a black cloth top. Today, with its wheels mounted with Blackwell tires, it gives a wonderfully modern and sinister appearance. Upon completion of the restoration, the Marmon began a modern conquer career virtually without peer, including its CCCA primary first, with 100 points in its first showing, followed by a senior first and the ACA's President's Cup, the most prestigious award that the organization offers a pre-war automobile. In 1989, it was shown at the Pebble Beach Conquer d'Elegance, winning second in class, followed by Best Pre-War Open Car at Meadowbrook and Best in Class at Indianapolis in 1990. After its conquer career, the car was continuously maintained to a high standard during its display in the S. Ray Miller Museum in Elkhart, Indiana. The current owner purchased the Marmon when the Miller collection was dispersed in 2004. Shortly thereafter, it was placed on display at the Studebaker National Museum in South Bend, Indiana, followed by extended display in the Gallery of Classics at the ACD Automobile Museum in Auburn, Indiana. Thus, it has continued to benefit from good display in a climate-controlled museum setting. More recently, in preparation for the sale, it has been returned to LeBaron Restorations for a cosmetic detailing of its still spectacular restoration, as well as extensive mechanical sorting, including a complete engine rebuild. For details, please contact an RM Sotheby's specialist. In Marmon and CCCA circles, everyone knows the S. Ray Miller 16 and regards it as one of the most famous and most important of its kind. With continuously known and honest history and a well-preserved restoration by one of the finest U.S. facilities, it awaits the next caretaker in its rich story.